bands, the operator bands rather, see which ones will not be into play. Now, there's many different directions you can go. Sometimes you do see a hard breacher removed, but of course, as we said and mentioned before, you don't necessarily need it on coastline.
Now the thing about Coast, and I'm sure you've got the in-depth win rate statistics for a longer period of time by Thatcher, we'll be back there in a second with these default bans. We haven't seen it over the first stage of NAL across either of these two teams. Neither of them played it during the first split, and obviously the first split hasn't really been their best showing, but it was the same with TSM, and I believe Clubhouse. They hadn't played it until their game earlier today. They were pretty good on Clubhouse.
They definitely were. They showed up strong right there and managed to build up some round differential. Not that it really matters, of course, in the group stage, but you never know. Well, Mai being removed just like the banner, so that is indeed the one hard breacher we were talking about, and a Vigil to get taken out.
Okay.
Now, we heard in the previous coastline game there was a bunch of line being played, and we then also heard like the Vigil is the one operator that can deny the E1D from moving through if you activate the ERC7. This might indicate also a bit of aggression coming out, or it's just a counterban. It's either of the two.
I think that's it with Coast, is Lion gives you the immediacy. Lion gives you that quick push, and I think it was NA where I first started to see it around, I think it was the old Sonics roster. They were very quick to try and bring and deploy that. It was pinch and punch. It was dig deep, get in and get involved, because it offers that as a map. It's immediacy.
There it is. There it is. Chala picking it up
And
right there.
Yeah.
Already saw him hovering it for a bit, then tried to trick us by going to the Dokkaebi, but decided to go for the Lion nonetheless. And that's what we're talking about. The Vigil, the one operator that can make sure to not be affected if the ERC7 gets activated. It's going to be off that board now, meaning that Spacestation Gaming will have to make sure that they find themselves in good positions with, well, good crossfires maybe even, to deny any potential push to come out.
Well, setting themselves up here with a big kind of extension across the top. This is Coast. You give yourself really big angles and really big sight lines. You set yourself up for the ability to try and play into that dangerous square shape that this map is. It's, in a weird way, its own little pockets of space and avenues, but if you find yourself able to start exploiting just a corner or a half, especially across the cut of the courtyard, well, you can be in a pretty good stead for being able to keep it under control. Canadian. If I'm going to list words that all sound the same, well, I've got to be the one man that is the difference here, obviously. He is back in the stead and the seed of, well, let's go one more SI 2021. That man wants another hammer to beat Pengu.
He wants another hammer, and Pengu already said himself, if he's getting close, he's going to get right down to out of the retirement right there to try and make sure it doesn't happen, but we're not that far yet. We're first in these group stages. His fails to receive a little bit of pressure right here. The drones are coming in. The E1D comes in as well. He has to move, and that means he gets pinged. Will escape with his life for now, however, the drones keep putting on the pressure.
Well, this Mozzie is being cooked from either side. The bar is serving up a heck of a lot of danger, but it's Rampy that finds the first against Bolo. Chala with the spin, and Chala with the double right inside the back of the deep blue bar, as we still see a single blue body around offices. They want to rotate background, but actually they've gone the opposite way. Aruni has pulled away from that side and keeping a cross angle towards the sunrise door from deep on the opposite side of courtyard. As I said before, it becomes that huge cross section that really allows you the access from one corner right deep to the other. Nade is steadily making his way here. So far not challenged on the top floor, but with Chala still with that Lion ahead, he knows it's probably only a matter of time before a coordinated push and pulse comes through.
Still two E1Ds left that can be used. A angle watched as well into the lobby. Tinging Nade not taking any damage right there, but manages to make his way back to the site. Now, top floor control has been forfeited here by the likes of Spacestation Gaming, and as a new E1D comes in, there they go. They're entering the site right through the smoke canister into a safe corner to try and get that plan down. And Geo will be taking a lot of damage right now, will be forced to go off into a secondary position right now, but no one is there to try and challenge it. A third smoke canister actually doing the job right there, thinking they will spot him out, and that's the diffuser dropped.
Achieved on the backside, is able to get one more. They still have a bit of a cross angle, but the diffuser is cold in a very tricky situation to get it back up. They do not have full comfort, but Rampy goes deep and swings close. He's able to just get the pop round here, puts a hole in the wall that Charla is well aware of. He digs deep towards the pantry and the prep, but can't quite find the recipe for success, so goes for the bigger rotation, gets dropped. SSG get the first round on Coast.
We have it. The first round, they were behind basically the entire game after Charla, entire round after Charla picked up the initial 2K with that Lion, as you see happening right there from the receiving end. And well, TSM just not able to get that defuser down, put in so much utility, so much manpower as well, trying to make it happen, but unfortunately not the case. And that means that Spacestation Gaming is off to a good start, picking up that first round already. And we're heading to Hookah Billiards next. Again, the line is coming out. It's not even being hidden this time by Charla, as that only works once.
Yeah, it's expectations now. You've seen it once. You know the game that they're going to want to play because it was that crux and that core of that push. They made sure that everything they did was under that pretty scary rumble in the sky that makes everything vibrate, including your hold itself. So we head up to a slightly more relaxing venue inside Hookah and Billiards. Set yourself up with a bit of a hold behind the four-walled bar and maybe shoot some pool and potentially the attackers that are otherwise trying to take over the space and have themselves their own relaxing setup.
See a lot of rotations being made right here. Folds is setting up some of these black eyes, making sure that the information is there in case of any vertical pressure to come down from the likes of TSM. Now, if you look at their setup, there is no buck available, and that means that they are pretty limited. They have to use the 2 impacts and maybe the 3 breaching rounds that Ash brings if they want to be opening up from below to that top. So that is something to keep in mind as well. Of course, that the Black Eye will be giving away information for potential C4 play later on in the round. Rampy and Fultz both have one available to them. So we'll want to know whether or not it's going to be clear to move into the bar as Rampy already goes down. The drone right there spotted him out, and he will be recovered potentially, but Merc is already right on them, trying to put some pressure down.
Oh, that's teamwork, and that's trying to save Private Rampy now as he's holding on for the best of his ability, but Bolo is there to get a double of his own inside the kitchen from deep. There's just one more man lying down in the corner. They're well aware, and it's Merc who's going to be able to pull together. Bolo! From under to the top, luggage packed and sent home. Get out of here. This is a TSM round, and it's only one man trying to keep the cool vibes done, but no more of 4K.
Oh, that one went south real quickly for Space Station. A great first round to start it off with. A member gets down due to a drone. People try and save him to make sure that they stay in contention for the round. You lose 3 people as a result. Bolo traces the traces back to the origin. Takes down that kill and gets the final one onto the stairs as well. And that means we're all squared up again. The Lion is being brought out because why not? Hookah Billiards, yet again, we're going to rerun it because basically not a single part of the strategy or setup has been played. Oh, Six-Pack. No, maybe? Charla? Okay, Dokkaebi coming out.
Dokkaebi coming out.
Maybe not. Yes, okay. Maybe just changing a little bit on the loadout right there. Different attachments, anything like that. Maybe different secondary gadget to pull out. You don't know it. But yeah, we're going to rerun the top floor. There was no way to actually, see if their setup would work or not.
I mean, yeah, sure, when a man pops off and gets a 4K, yeah, you don't really get a true taste of the weather and the feeling of things coming together. You assume they'll be a little bit more aware of the possibility of that quick pace from TSM. They had the drone and the beat on Rampy before he could even hop his way back to where he wanted to hold, and, well, that's this map. That is catching someone out of position because the positions aren't that far away from where everything starts to collide. So they're seemingly much more ready this time around. They've woken up and got themselves set up for this TSM approach. Nobody's caught quite early, but TSM, well, they're acting like there is somebody there ready and waiting to be killed.
Drones coming in, Charla trying to find out some positions of these players, and they have it a double setup. Rampy and Fultz will be falling back this time around. No early kill, or no early 3 kills rather. As they move out, they find themselves in different positions, preparing some potential jump ups right there into phase. You never know if you're going to be able to catch someone off guard with it, or if there's a drone hidden behind it. There's some very aggressive pressure already coming down, however, from TSM. At the bottom of Cool Vibe stairs already, looking to take some control.
Yeah, wasting no time in trying to just make their presence known, drop the barb in case they need to get a bit aggro, obviously. The Banshee isn't that much higher up the stairs, so it's not going to be the cleanest approach possible, but you obviously still have the possibility of frag grenades through the Cool Vibes stairs if you might be able to burn some of the potential utility that is around in the corner. It's pinging, and it's hoping that they can catch it with these charges underneath. Beautifully played. Good coordination, as we've seen on the approach, to get whether it's bodies or utility. They know where everything needs to be and why it needs to be there. But with Bolo still holding down on the bottom of Cool Vibes, it's up to SSG to see if they can try and reposition themselves. They're fully aware of where the intention of TSM is. They've put down their flags, marked their lines, and kind of fired up some flares here, and it's down to SSG to see if they can go out of this planet, and they do! Rampy with the double, and Canadian is able to find one on the board. Here's the first of, I don't want to say it's his final SI, because
you never know.
You never know.
You never know, but it should be the final SI, as he said himself. But you never know if he's going to stick around. Nonetheless, though, great start here for Space Station as they managed to pick up 2 of these kills. Now, it's only up to Achieved and Charla. What can they make happen with just the 2 of them? A bit of pressure being put down from the window. Rampy is aware of that. Goes prone just to make sure that he avoids any hit whatsoever. As Achieved now gets taken down from the hatch, it's only up to Charla now, who is outside on the hookah balcony. Spots out one player out fast, but not able to put down any shots or any hits yet. And well, this will probably, you would say, go the way of Space Station, but he's very close to hitting ahead right there.
Yeah, he's popping towards pre-fired angles, but with 30 seconds and, well, nothing else really done outside of a bits of bobs of utility, it is a big suffer for them to try and pull something here. He's looking for a potential confused pick, and he knows it's going to be a firefight whichever way he enters. Doesn't quite get, does, in fact, able to find faults in the head of him, but with nade at the top of the stairs, well, he doesn't even get that far. Bosco from deep and the back of the bar is able to drop it off, and SSG find a response to what was a pretty rude awakening in the previous round.
As I said, they didn't really have a chance to show their setup as they lost 3 members in the space of a couple of seconds, so decided to rerun it. Managed to make it stick as well, so well played to them. So we are now going over to the 4th round so far. It is going to be Blue Bar and Sunrise. We do see the Dokkaebi coming out again, but yet the 6th pick is still to come. So you don't know if they're actually going to go back to the line now, as that one seemed to be working a little bit better over the last couple of rounds. But I mean, there is an option. No, we're going to stick with the Dokkaebi right here. So same setup coming through. The likes of TSM, I believe, but a different site that will be played by Space Station. It is going to be that bar, and what we often see, there's 2 points where you can really plant. You could either go for the place on the blue bar. There's a little pillar right there. If you open up the wall from office, it is safe to plant if you're not being pressured with either smoke canisters or nitros. Currently being highlighted by our observer, Easy that is. Over previous game of Coastline, we actually saw that the wall that's now reinforced was not being reinforced by both those teams. They choose to reinforce, but leave the one next to that one soft. I can understand this one a bit better. I still don't know why the wall was being left soft. I was trying to figure it out, but this makes a bit more sense to me.
Does it?
It does, because
does it speak to you?
Well, there is a safer position on the wall that they just reinforced, and with the lack of heart breach, as they just have the heart breach gadget, it's not going to be very ideal jumping in trying to get the plant, because you cannot like stick yourself right between that pixel where it's safe to plant from courtyard, for example.
Now they have got themselves locked behind the pillar box inside. Oh, goodbye, Charla. You're not coming inside, as you're very quickly shut down by faults on the approach here on that service entrance. They still have some utility and a drone to try and pop and get a bit of an intel on where he might be, but he's not hiding his presence. This is what we talked about at the beginning. With Coast, you sort of have to stretch yourself laterally across the map. For a lot of these holds, you got to make sure that you have more than just one ballast and barrier that you might have in maps like Villa, where it's a lot more structural, a lot more heavy in terms of what the building can offer you. Coast is thin as a paper, but while paper cuts sometimes hurt the worst, he is under a bit of pressure here from Lobby, with Rampy offering a bit of support, but it's rotating, it's mobile, and it's a minute gone.
Quickly taking care of some of the information that might be landing into the hands of TSM. It's going to be one less drone to work with. There's still 9 on the border, however, and in play. There's still plenty of information here that TSM can use, as a bit of a challenge is being put up now to Fault. Has to be careful as some pressure is coming down from the top. Not go too aggressive or his feet will get spotted out, as you just saw there. So Fult's going even more aggressive instead to just make sure that he brings the fight towards the actual pantry service.
Well, there is now 3 bodies trying to shut down Fultz. I believe there's one more on the kitchen window. There's some pepper, there's some fire, and there's another firefight. He's finally shut down by Bolo inside the lobby, but almost 2 minutes gone for a single man who held on to that kitchen with everything that he could muster, and it drew for, well, all the remaining players of TSM in the end, with Bolo being able to pop over. But now they still have to do their approach onto the site. They've still got to see if they can reconvene and recollect all of the intel on where the remaining players are, obviously. It's a bit of an extension there round into office, so you would assume they might try and close it down. But Rampy is actually getting aggro back, heading towards the lobby to see if he can potentially catch somebody loose around the back. If they believe Kitchen is safe, well, he's about to try and make sure that it isn't.
Luckily, not the bump side, as we are playing on the bar, so as Rampy still has security and office in control, also has the opportunity to try and rotate through to courtyard and maybe even get back through the kitchen to try and put some damage down. Oh, they have a drone. They're trying to go for the wallbang. Will not succeed, though, as Thinking Nate gets a kill with that nitro. 20 seconds left. Now there's a lot of pressure on TSM.
He's just trying to find where that ping is. They know that they're not safe to push as long as he's still alive, and he has played this perfectly. There it is, though. Nade with one more. Bolo goes deep. He's able to get the drop on one, but now he's the only one left. Finds one more, but he body blocked the door. Can't quite get the diffuser in time with the split angle held, and SSG are able to put themselves 2 rounds ahead of their opponents.
The 2 rounds here, and at the moment that the pre-fire failed onto the one that was flanking inside of security, you saw that they were a little bit divided between what they had to do. Like, are we going to chase them down or are we going to hit the site? And well, as a result, there's 2 different plans in approach. Spacestation Gaming able to punish that, picking up the kills left and right. With that now securing themselves a 3rd round here on Coastline, building on their lead. As we are going kitchen serves this time around, it is the line that gets brought out yet again by Charla. We're also seeing the Malusi into the 6-pick. So we have seen that TSM is pretty effective at clearing these Banshees out. Are they going to be able to do that again? Are they going to be able to clear out the shield, the Banshees, and well, that's it basically for now. Yeah, no Evil Eyes this time around. So just the Falcons and the Banshees. That is what they need to deal with.
Well, 3-1 SSG, you've been able to turn these defenses into your favor and control the pace and the flow. This is 2 teams that know each other very well, and obviously that's going to be one of your biggest tests inside this tournament is, okay, most of the NA teams are inside Group B themselves. This is going to be, I guess, a lot of well-practiced and well-run and rehearsed goes against each other in terms of they know how each other plays. They're very familiar with the setups. Obviously, so far, TSM, they've played Coast and they've played Club. 2 maps that they haven't played over the opening split. But still, the history of these 2 teams is you can track them playing Coast to SI 2020, as well as the November Major Finals, as well as it goes on and on and on.
Interesting to note is down the attacking lineup, the only operator to have changed over these last 5 rounds has been the one that Charla plays. It's either Lion or it's Dokkaebi. The rest of the lineup has stayed the same. Also, we do see a little bit more variation on the defense, where the Goyo can also be a Maestro or a Mira. Sometimes we see the Mute coming out or an Aruni. And also the Mozzie or Valkyrie. There's a lot of variations that they are running right here in Space Station so far, playing it almost perfectly.
Well, they're aware that obviously the body is behind that shield inside. Well, Fultz's brain. Merc swings round, is able to get one just on that precipice on the top of the Cool Vibes stairs, heading towards Billiards potentially. Either way, it's going to make Nade in a much trickier situation. A couple of explosions pop either side as they open up the range. There's ADSs to burn, but look at the 2 bodies underneath, ready with the C4 thrown, blown, missed. But they're still able to get themselves rotated round, see if they can pull a little bit more intel, a little bit more information. The pulse comes out, not joined by a push at that moment in time, though. It allows them to swing round, and Bolo to swing into Canadian Rampy. Battles back, is able to drop the man before he can do any more damage. The Goyo shield is popped, the room floods with fire, and Nade, well, he's keeping himself a little bit cool, just underneath the projector, waiting for somebody to drift a little bit closer into his gun.
4v3 right here for TSM. This is an advantage, but they have been in that situation before. Rampy, however, does not spot out the head. Gio will be able to pick up the kill. Chief will follow that one up as well. It's only up to Bosco now. The one man left standing in the kitchen gets spotted due to all these the EU1Ds that are popping off right here. A little bit of damage is being done, and there's a lot of vertical pressure to arise as well. Goes aggressive with the shotgun, but it's not going to be able to last or get that kill. As Chief gets it. Takes down Bosco, takes the win here for this round into TSM's hands. That means they're closing up the gap just a little bit.
Very well played there by TSM. They're able to get a handle and a grip on all the players and locations that they need to. They set themselves up for a structured take in terms of, okay, well, this is here. Let's do our pre-fire angles. Let's get ourselves with that big angle across the top of VIP from Hall of Fame. Let's make sure that if anything gets loose, we are there to sweep it up, because that was where they sort of encountered some problems with SSG before. It took them a while to get one Rooney outside of the kitchen. This time they said, well, we're going to make sure that isn't happening again. 3-2. TSM have the ability to get themselves an even half.
And TSM are fighting for the 3-3, whilst SSG definitely wants to continue and stay in the lead, whilst they are moving over to the attack soon. Lucy's again being set up here, and you also see the Maestro making the reappearance here for Canadian. Was the exact same lineup, I believe, as the last time we have seen hookah billiards coming out. Yes, it has been. Thus, we should see TSM quickly clearing out the utility that will be placed down, as we saw happen the last time around. Of course, might see a little bit more of a scuffle down in the bars. It was attempted in round number 2, didn't really go according to plan, and thus in round 3 they completely forfeited it. That allowed Merc to quickly take care of the utility. The Evil Eyes and the Banshees were quickly taken care of. It didn't eventually result in a round. The Space Station was still able to hold on, but they surely want to make sure that their utility just stays in place just a little bit longer.
Well, pulling back and getting themselves stocked up here for the potential to rebuff anything that comes in, but TSM, they're weighing up their approach and their options here. They're not trying to put the pace and the pedal to the metal to see who they can knock off the road this time. No. They're well aware that the space station was, well, in space, up above them, and unable for them to really get a grip in. They tried to do their collapse once they dropped a bit of utility last time we were here, but it turned into a little bit of a bloodbath as they couldn't really get close. I'm curious to see what they adapt here, if they try and change a bit of their approach, still popping the same bits as before. No.
Where did it go?
Did it go in?
Oh, no, he didn't shoot it.
They realized that there wasn't anything there. I thought there wasn't something there.
Yeah, there is one on the bench right there.
Oh, it's on the bench.
You can still get it from there, but he might not be putting up some pressure at this very moment. Instead, Merc will be deciding to take the shot down into Canadian, and will take out that Maestro, which means that the cams are only literally a spotting tool right now.
Well, now Bolo is eyeing up Cool Vibes. Obviously, they want to try and swing some pressure here sooner rather than later, but is waiting for a bit of the go-ahead to draw some attention away, because if there isn't another bit of a threat, then it's a big bit of danger. There is one blue body around the lobby on the opposite side. You can see it by the 4 ping being told where they are, and, well, they're seemingly aware, but it makes this sunrise door a little bit more dangerous because it offers a huge angle for Rampy to fire all the way deep across and see if he can cut someone off unaware. We talked about this big roam from lobby before and how it could be something so monumental if timed perfectly, and previously it was, but it's making sure that TSM still have the time to dig themselves up without getting drawn in by the potential behind them. There's a ping, there's a great gas canister that really preempted that E1D now. Nade is trying to hold on for his life and everything is exploding or smoking around him. He's finally able to dig into a corner, but it's Charla that goes down. Rampy with the rotation via officers gets one. Bolo tries to get revenge but can't quite catch him. 40 seconds, another body goes down. It's Nade. Tried to find something at the bottom of Cool Vibes but couldn't quite get it, but there's achieved with that crossfire on Rampy. It's a 4 versus 1. Another body down on the Cool Vibe stairs now as they try and swing round. Dropped by Bosco, but Gio is going to try and put the diffuser down. One of the highest plant stats across NAL, and he's trying to make sure it carries on through here.
Oh,
no!
Bosco!
Bosco with a double kill!
Tosses out the smoke canister. You saw the member going down prone, but got down, and it allowed him to just quickly peek onto the planter, shutting him down, as we quickly are going to be looking over that surely soon again. What a play it was, a 1v3 clutch from Bosco. if it wasn't even more. It was a 1v4, that is. Look at that. Bolo going down, quickly getting the shot in right on time. And Spacestation Gaming are taking their 4th round and will enter the second half with a 2-round lead as they move over to the attack themselves right now.
I think bosco is the...
I think that is
that's what the
termination indeed right now. Bosco, yes. Okay.
I mean, what a moment, what a clutch. Out of absolutely nothing. 3 seconds to go, maybe, if that. He's just seen all his team go down, and he pulls that out. Oh, yeah. This is one of those teams that you love to watch. 4-2 on the turn of the half. TSM find themselves now stacking up for the first time today in Penthouse on their defense. One of the lesser seen sights, to be honest. If Mira's off the board, it's never seen, really. She does allow a lot of adaptation and growth for the rooms that can be offered here, but it doesn't make it easy.
It's interesting to see that entire wall being removed from play. Of course, we do see the reinforcement on the right-hand side to make sure that the mirror window can be placed upon it. But normally, yeah, what we used to see back, all the way back in the day, all the way back.
Back when you were a pro player?
When Coastline just came out.
Okay.
That is indeed when I was playing. I wouldn't call myself pro. CGG does, though. That's when there would be a double mirror window on that side, according to some teams. But it's, of course, better to spread it out just a little bit if you have the opportunity to. Still curious, though, why the complete wall has been opened up. But we'll see in just a couple of seconds, I would assume.
Pre-firing towards angles and making sure they can keep themselves cornered and concerned here because it is a fast approach map, as we've talked about before, but it also allows first strikes. And I'm not sure if everyone here was watching the preamble before this game, the amazing SI video that kind of showed the previous SIs and the hype, and it included Canadian making a run out from hookah and doing a spawn peek against, at the time, Penta.
Oh, this is why.
This is why. Are you happy?
I was waiting for it, yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, but...
No.
Geo just quickly showed why that entire wall has been removed. It's for the second mirror window to allow the angle down onto the default plant spot, because it's really hard to try and challenge as soon as they repel into that window. So that is probably what it's for.
Now, this is where this might start to become a bit of a problem, and it's down to that verticality. Buck getting in underneath and seeing what he can open. Merc, while he's pre-firing himself an angle to cut anybody that tries to dig their way across the service entrance, but it's just going to be a bit of droning and a bit of trying to control the space here because he is pretty isolated. Sure, you have achieved in a position to rotate down cool vibes, and, well, they can open Aqua Hatch if they want to get a bit of a hot drop or luggage too, but either way, it's down to the pace of the approach here. Big angles opened by the Buck. He's making sure he has a clean eyesight before he tries to dig himself in underneath a lot of this floor, a lot of these angles, but it's still just weighing things up for SSG.
Just look at the long angles that have been created into VIP as well. They really are keen on holding this all from theater, maybe from the 90 hallway as well. Looking at how it's set up. Rampy quickly checking if no one is really inside of the toilet, making sure that the drone hole gets used properly, but no, that is not going to be the case. Most of these players will be around and in theater. As Spacestation Gaming now trying to go for their attack. They know what needs to happen. They need to get deep into the corner to get that plan from going on. And are they going to make it happen? Are they going to make the run?
Well, this is where things might start to strike. You can see they are setting up and ready to go on that 3-2-1 mark. And here we go, spraying deep, and the canisters pop, allowing the man outside a shower to dig past. He's going to try and stick it in the meantime. The distractions are coming through. There is a bit of a pop, and there's a bit of a replacement behind the bomb chassis to offer the cover, but it doesn't protect you from that. The C4 from deep. Diffuser is picked back up with Geo getting a double. However, Fultz is going to try and stick it with the cover that's coming across. There's Rampy right down 90 to drop the one. He's going for the second behind the mirror window. Just one body left. There he is on the door, but they're able to hold on just in time.
Able to hold on indeed. There you see the C4s coming. It was a second kill actually on the diffuser planted that went down. Able to pick up the kills in the end. And there we have it around for TSM. It looked like it was going to be Space Station for a while right there, but the kill down onto the Melusi right below the mirror window, not in time. Just the C4 detonation coming in, thinking they not quick enough to grab that diffuser and push the plant button again as there was no time left on that scoreboard. And it could have been a 5-3 right here for, a 5-2 rather, for Space Station, but TSM are going to be able to hold on to that one just barely.
So, Splek has tweeted.
Has he?
BSA, CHGG does not consider Happer Pro.
Oh, okay, unfortunately.
I'm sorry.
I was called by one of these from the CGG guys in an actual article. So
in an article.
It was in an article, so you gotta,
I think there's going to be
go
some
to the writing
rewrites.
staff. That's totally fine by me. I mean, I've won a total of $63, so...
wow.
Yeah, a bit more than
Brag
Stokes,
about
actually.
it. A bit more than Stokes?
A bit more than Stokes.
Wow.
I believe it was.
I'm kind of glad that...
We were going to go on a Mackie day as soon as...
Well, I'm really glad that you're doing this kind of smack talk now when we're not setting up for like a caster's show match, because I don't want you to give them heat, because I don't want to get smacked around by the NA.
It's going to be totally fine, don't worry about it. We got the strategy.
I don't think I would be. I've played like 2 tournaments, neither has gone well. For 3, SSG, you were close to being able to lock that off. One loose TSM thread was all it took to unravel the lovely knitted sweater of we can take our first attack, but it is obviously a big guessing game between these two teams. As we said before, Coast has not been seen in the NAL for these two, so it's a lot of mystery up in the air in what they've been trying to hold on to. Okay, saving strats. Everybody always mentions this, but it's different when you see a map after a long time, especially with the huge meta changes that we've had since we last saw it involved.
All right, TSM, you just barely managed to win that last round. Let's see if you're going to be able to continue that and bring it back towards a 4-4 mark. We are playing in the bars. That means there could be coming pressure down from either side. You can either go from office and push on from there, or you're going to be trying to take the actual Sunrise bar, plant right behind the bomb chassis. But both do require a bit of heart breach, and well, it's not available to the Spacestation Gaming team as of yet.
Now, steadily digging their way across. As we saw before, it was a little bit like the Cowboy Bebop entrance where it was 3-2-1, let's boogie. Here, though, they're making sure that they're a much quicker team in terms of getting aggressive against the defense of TSM. If the loose thread was what got them before, they are tightening around and steadily coiling, pushing them, in some cases, away from the hold that they want to be able to do. Charla digs himself down and steadies his way towards an angle that he might be able to hold rather than getting pinched out and pincered as the Ash steadily swings around the corner as Fultz is looking for anybody. But with Buck hopped up on the billiards table, he's trying to dig down and see if he can find the result. Gets a little bit of a sight and a little bit of a scrape against Achieve, but they're otherwise free to find themselves in a bit of a new sanctuary. Ow! Is what he's going to scream, but he should be able to get picked up. No! He doubles down on the C4.
At least a lot of utility wasted on getting the kill down there onto Rampy. You could say, well, is it really a waste? The man is currently 11 of 4. I think I would be fine using 2 of
whatever you can use to kill Rampy, it's not a waste.
I know, right? It's like a good one. It's not a waste. You use 2 C4, so be it. You still have the man advantage right now. There's no more extra vertical pressure that is really coming down. What is, however, coming down is Canadian that just threw in a Candela and now gets the kill down onto Achieved as well.
Now, it's actually worth talking about the Ying here. Obviously, it's one of the first picks that we've seen coming through for her on this, and it's a great map. The same way that we talked about the E1D allowing such quick pace to the push, but here's 20 seconds, and there's still bodies loose, and there's the diffuser down. Bolo inside for the double, finds himself another one, and here it is only 10 seconds, but none of it is going to be spent alive by Bosco as TSM pull us back level.
Nice shots coming in right there. And the own thank you. Space Station are now drawn up with TSM. 4-4 it is, and that means that we have the opportunity here that we are going to overtime. However, SSG is yet to find a round on their attack so far. They got really close in the first one, but it was, of course, Penthouse Theater. Now, is that a throwaway site? Is that a dirt tree or an offside that you would normally not go back to? As we are going hookah billiards now, that's a very common sight to see, so it could just as well be that it was a throwaway site, and SSG could have gone really close in there, but TSM is not going to go back this game to Theater.
Attackers need to locate
now,
and defuse bombs.
It's one of those things that I guess is obviously going to be a big story about SI, is Canadian coming back into the fray after obviously retiring over the season, a split that hasn't been the best, to be fair, either of these two teams. But at the same time, what we've seen today, you would have thought that he's been in this roster a while at this point. He hasn't really missed a lot of
He has been in the roster for a while.
Okay, no, but you know what I mean.
He had a little break.
He had a break, sure. The man declared a retirement. He put his feet up, played rounds of golf.
Player ever though, especially in Tier 3, they retire every day and then they come back for the next tournament.
Yeah, but it's, you know, there's a difference between a Tier 3 player saying I retire and Canadian.
And a 2-times world champion.
But moral of the story, this man has stepped back into boots as if he never left. And I think that's such a good sign for SSG players. This is their first comp game in a long time with Canadian back at the helm and the roster. So wave those little space station flags, because regardless of the result, it is such a great thing to see a great player be able to step back into the fray with the consistency of what this man has. Okay. Now we've still got a game on. TSM, you've been able to pull yourself back in a couple of rounds here, and it's been pretty good, pretty scrappy at points. However, a win is a win regardless, and the previous one was the best defensive win that you've had out of the two. So can you keep stepping up and stepping into this fight?
Got to keep in mind as well that the true test now comes here for Space Station. They're on their attack. This is where the leadership and everything needs to be in place to make sure that they are going to be able to put TSM down, put them aside, make sure that they are the ones to walk away with that point here today that you are going to be needing at the end of day 6 when Group B would be decided. Some drones are being used, some information is being gathered, and you see that they do want to take control of hookah. Basically, every single member on the likes of Space Station Gaming is set up around it. It's going to be up to Team SoloMid to try and find out whether or not they are going to be capable of stopping them dead in their tracks, as, well, surely soon the actual hit onto the site will come.
Now there's the attention. There's a C4 drop trying to get Fultz through the open hatch, but it doesn't quite make the mark. Instead, he's going to see if he can get a bit of a revenge from the reverse verticality, but nobody's there close enough. They've actually pulled themselves away towards Aqua instead. It's a bit of a big reshuffle here as they reconsider their method of approach. Obviously, we still have those Candelas in the pocket of Canadian, but he's not going to use them to drop Bolo. Caught a little bit loose there on the rotation from the opposite side. Merc suffers from an explosion just above. The baited drone timed perfectly. His movement to get to safety saves him. And Rampy is there ready to try and get some revenge. But look at the body there in office too. They want to try and apply, but it's Achieved who actually suffers back, battled and pushed away by a bit of a steady gunfight. Not killed though, and that is the most important factor when you only have 40 seconds left.
And the first one going down, but Chala now getting the kill down onto Canadian. The Candelas will still pop, however. Fultz putting up a little bit of damage, but not enough for jump out in the meantime. Achieved! Able to pick up Fultz, but he instantly gets traded out by Rampy, who now pushes up to the cool 5 stairs. A smoke canister, however, will be trying to slow him down just a little bit. Tosses out the flashbang out of nowhere, as Bosco is hoping to put up some pressure as well towards the face. Are they going to be able to make this stick?
Geo digs deep, finds one more, and now it's a 2 versus 3 as they try and clear up. Chala cuts a man in half, and it's just down to Nade outside on the Nomad. Swings to one, can't see the second, and now with only 5 seconds left and 3 guns knowing exactly where you are, it's a bit of a Hail Mary to throw yourself in, but Merc doesn't even let you have a taste as he cuts you down and pushes TSM for the first time this game 1 step ahead.
Yeah, they are in the lead right now. Space Station not able to make their attack stick yet. These stairs are too tricky to play against when you have Chala with that shotgun just waiting on the top of it. Able to use these smoke canisters to try and slow you down. Forces you to, well, play with less time in the end of the round. And as soon as there is that little, 15-second, 30-second mark that comes in, the dramatic music starts playing, you know you have to push. And at that moment, Chala will be waiting right there with that shotgun. I believe 2 kills throughout that round, able to pick up Canadian and yet another member of Space Station. And now it is going to be a very important round. It's round number 10. This is the round where we decide. Is it going to be TSM that is fighting for the match points afterwards? Or is it going to be SSG that is trying to keep it close, hoping to force this into their own hand a little bit later?
You know, obviously, setup here at the hotel. Our setup here is one. It's like an entire siege hotel, by the way. You go up to the elevator, there's stickers everywhere. It's amazing. But I'm not entirely sure how close the rooms for the players are in terms of where they're playing now, because it's NA, and I know.
Yeah, I really thought I heard Canadian scream at some point.
I really want to. I know it's not close to us because I can't hear it.
I know.
I remember when we saw them The only honor that I've had of being able to cast these teams on a LAN before with you was at OGA.
Yeah.
And they were so vocal, we could hear them 3 rooms away. I love it.
We had the admin coming down to Canadian, telling him to tone it down a little bit because he was being too vocal.
Honestly, I want to see that energy. I'm so super excited to be able to just uplifted by NA energy. But if anybody needs it right now, SSG, you have now suffered 3 rounds in a row. And to be fair, it was pretty bitterly back and forth in the opener. So you got to try and find a way to stem the momentum of TSM, because if they get themselves onto map point with a 4-round shuffle and rotation, well, it doesn't really look too good, but you are more than capable of being able to lock it off. As we see, a bit of a change up here, still reinforcing around 90 to make sure that they have their solidity as they try and piece together where SSG is pulling them or attempting to apart, going deep and droning deeper as they still steadily try and just find that opening TSM body.
Yeah, the penthouse is a very important point of interest here for the attackers. It allows you to start opening up into pantry, into the service entry, make sure that you get those vertical angles in control. Then next to that, of course, you have VIP. That is one that is really important. But right now, this setup right here that we see from Theater is going to be a very good one to make sure that you can try and keep control of that penthouse. So that is why you currently see these TSM players playing right here, and Achieved that wants to do everything he can to try and duel whoever comes out of that VIP hallway.
He's waiting patiently to try and take the head off the VIP. If you didn't know, Ace, well, he blows up mirror windows, so it's a limited amount of time here. It goes a little bit too low. He has the ability to try and peek and put pressure. Might not know somebody's dropped into the bathroom, but he's still able to slip through the fingers and find his way back down to the bathroom, potentially to re-grease and re-roam out on the opposite side of a new flank. But it does hand over the top floor here to them with a lot of pressure and a lot of blood taken out of the 2 defenders. It's Rampy that's finally able to open the first, swinging round and droned hot ahead across that 90 corridor now, as we can see TSM are just reshuffling, trying to find some pockets of safety before SSG starts setting up for their collapse. Bolo, in the meantime, he's a little bit curious what's going on around this bank flank, and he finds faults, and that's going to set some alarms swinging in the SSG room.
I was already going to say, the fact that they get the opening kill does not necessarily mean that they have the round, because it happened in round 9 as well. Canadian onto Bolo, that was. Bolo's still alive right now, able to pick up the refrag. Fultz will drop, not having the best of games as of far. Gets to go for the second, will be able to get it, goes to the third, but he will not land that one. Thinking Nate gets the refrag, and we stay in a 3-on-3 with only 20 seconds left. Canadian has a diffuser in hand. Bosco should be near him. They are going to be going for a plant sooner rather than later. But only 10 seconds on the clock, they need to move now.
Yeah, it puts them in a really tricky situation, and that makes it even worse. Achieved swings round, drops Bosco on the door, looks for a second, but they've come in via the bathroom instead. Swings dropped on the doorway. Geo tries to spray, but it's Charlotte that locks it off. TSM put themselves onto map point, and you cannot give enough kudos and compliments to the game sense and the timing there of Bolo. Got where he needed to be, did what he needed to do at 40 seconds. SSG, they thought they were setting up for a roam, but then finding one more, well, for no surprise, SSG are taking their time out.
Yeah, they're on the brink of defeat right now. They are 2 rounds behind, 2 match points behind. And they need to discuss what's going on now. Lycan will be talking to his boys. All right, guys, we have what is necessary to make sure that this match goes our way, but we need to be getting it out right now. There is no more room for error. And as they are getting ready again, you see a little bit of tense faces here and there. Surely they want to start off SI with a win in these groups right here, and the question is, are they going to be able to make it happen? Nice little Tachanka Space Station sticker on the side of the headset there, I like it. But nonetheless, the pressure is on. Space Station, they need to get these 2 rounds if they want to be forcing it to overtime. Luckily, there is no, well, depending on what site you're looking at it from, no overtime point system. Meaning if you get the win, you get the full point. It's not being divided up between the 2 of you. So if you manage to bring it back to OT, if you manage to then take it on your second OT side, you still get that full point. Now, if you're on the receiving end of that, of course, it's going to be a little bit more tough. Like you were on 6 first, you're not going to get anything for it if you lose it like that. But that just means you need to close out the game, and that's exactly what TSM wants to do right now as we're heading back in. Possibly the last action phase soon that we see. could just as well be that Space Station strike back now.
I was curious about that. The swap around to bring Gabit out instead of the Ying. Oryx in the hands of Bolo as well. The possibilities, oh, they're so endless when you're bringing Oryx to a map like Coastline. It just allows you to really bring a new dimension. There's a few maps that play perfectly well for his abilities, and obviously this is one of the top, if not the top. It's generally tied between this and Consulate due to the hatch synergy there. It's just so beastly in the right hands.
You know, there's only 2 staircases here inside of Consulate. You have the giant donut hole in the middle that cuts down any rotation. So, you know, if you want to go from that bottom floor to the top floor, you can just jump up the hatch and, well, suddenly they have no clue you were coming up from there because none of the flank drones saw it happen. So it is definitely an option right here. We do not very often see it work that way, but like the fact that it can happen is already enough to make the attacking team be aware of it, put some extra utility towards it, etc., etc.
Well, SSG, let's see if you can get a bit of a handle onto TSM, who have otherwise been able to strike perfectly just when they need to around the backside, enough to try and scamper the plans that you've otherwise been able to try and put against them here, though. Achieved a nade. They know each other's waiting. Nades is like, well, I kind of want to book into this, but Achieved is like, sorry, sir, no entrance here. I'm going to make sure that you don't get anywhere close, as he has to go in via the top floor instead. Drones out around his teammates as they steady away, and Achieved is going to take that as his cue to get out of there, but...
He just pulled it down. I thought he was going to explode it.
I thought he was going to explode it too. I think he assumed the buck would have run off, but that would have been a kill on a very unsuspecting player.
Would have been indeed. Unfortunately not Rampy. Now putting up some pressure, trying to drone. Finds out one of these players is just rotated into Sunrise. It's a very good spot there, especially with all the ankle holes that have been opened up by the likes of TSM themselves. They've got to be careful for that flank. We've been alluding to it before. There is a Chief at the bottom of the white stairs. You still have Bolo playing on that Oryx that can just suddenly pop up wherever he wants by jumping up these hatches. It's Chief now just quickly running around up to the office. He does hear some players, it sounds like.
Well, this is where he might try and drop a C4. That buck might get caught, but Bolo does instead. Bosco gets the first opener here and the drop on the defenders as Rampy starts to open up the angle from luggage. There is the first C4 ripped, torn and blown, and Rampy is the first to suffer for it. And I say first because there's still the potential of 2 more in the pockets, and obviously the other one didn't quite catch anybody. But with all the skull and crossbones that are otherwise making luggage a little bit of a risky approach here, Fultz is trying to dig themselves a pocket of space for safety for Canadian to try and get his feet inside Hookah. Instead, Nade drops the man over the billiards table and Fultz suffers against Charla in the meantime. Bosco has a bit of a split push here with Canadian still a little bit adrift and ajar. There's Geo underneath with another C4 too, but you think 40 seconds left and they still have to put their pressure onto the site now itself as they start to dig their way down.
I was going to say, might not be enough right now, is what we've seen from Space Station so far, is that they're not really able to capitalize on their opening kills, and they're running out of time at the last final seconds. The grenade gets tossed in, a C4 could be good for a double kill if it lands and explodes at the right moment, so they have to be very careful for this on the likes of SSG. They take care of the Melusi Banshee. There it comes! It's going to be the double kill, it's going to be the down into Bosco. It's only up to Thinking Nade right now. He has 10 seconds to keep them in the game. In a 1v2, but he will not make it stick. Charla gets the final kill. Thinking Nade will go down, and it is going to be TSM that takes the win right here onto Coastline.
TSM, they're able to secure themselves 2 for 2 of their opening 2 engagements here, but their second against SSG, who are playing their first, was a little bit more worse for wear. However, that's a team that's ready, and that was a must-win game for them, so congratulations are in order. But with all that said, SSG had their moments on their defense. Things were threaded pretty well together. It's just getting that old bit of mojo and momentum back on their attacking half that seemed to stutter and stumble them just a tad.
Yeah, that is indeed what they need to work on for just a little bit, but there is still time for them to fix these issues for the remainder of the group stages. But for now, we're going to head into a short break, but don't go anywhere.